Greetings, greetings, greetings to all my loved ones. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Wisdom with me, your favorite, realist, sexy ass spiritual advisor, Empress Oracle. I hope everybody's doing well today. On behalf of Starseed Galactic Federation, I have been given access to this knowledgeable information from my Akashic records for the purpose of helping humanity. This knowledgeable information has been given directly to me as a divine channel, and any use and or reproduction of this information without the proper acknowledgement or accreditation from where it was received will result in instant karma for the plagiarizing parties and or individuals. And so it is. Now, I'm sure you guys all saw the title, okay? Today, we are going to be touching on a very sensitive topic that is really becoming a major issue in today's day and age, all right? This is something that has been boiling under the surface, I feel like, for ages, and it's just now becoming to a point where it's very important for us to touch on men and mental illness. We all watch TV, we are all on the internet, we all interact with people on a daily basis. So I'm sure everybody is aware of the heightened rise in domestic violence, murders that's going on with men killing their family members, their significant others, their exes, their in-laws, children even. And it seems as though it's just coming out of the blue. It just appears like they're just snapping. A lot of people are saying they didn't see these things coming with people. However, first and foremost, what I'm going to say is a lot of things that go on in the world with people, okay, there are signs. It's just that sometimes people are very good at disguising when they're dealing with mental illness issues such as depression, bipolar disorder, whatever. But if you are around somebody and if you are on a spiritual journey or even sensitive or empath, whatever, you tend to pick up on energy, and there are always signs. People always give indications. And I think a lot of the problems is a lot of people really don't take men seriously whenever they complain of mental illness issues, whenever they complain of emotional disturbances, spiritual disturbances. A lot of times people don't take them seriously because it was so taboo for so long for men to actually talk about these things. People were not open with their feelings and their emotions. So now people like to make light of certain things. And because a lot of things are said and people don't take it seriously because they don't want to deal with such important topics, right? Such emotionally charged issues, a lot of people try to brush it off or they try to take it as a joke and laugh it off. And now we're seeing that this shit really is not funny because people are actually dying, okay? Not only are people losing their lives, but people are also giving up their lives by the extreme actions that they're taking at the height of mental illness issues and or, emotional disruption that they don't know how to positively deal with. So we got to talk about this shit, y'all. I hope you guys are keeping up with me, right? A lot of men are experiencing psychological, spiritual, and emotional shifts and don't know how to properly deal with them because, as I said before, society has created a stigma that acknowledging certain awareness or imbalances is considered as weak. And I can definitely say for sure that I know this is true, especially in the African American culture. All right, especially in the hood. Real niggas don't be talking about shit like that. We all grew up with that. Regardless of your age genre, I feel like we're in a point in time right now where all ages can kind of relate. Thanks to social media, everybody's realizing that they have more in common than they originally thought, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of geographical location. And we're also realizing that in various cultures, classes, societies and stuff, it was considered weak for the men to acknowledge that they were feeling a certain type of way. It's considered weak for men to, take a more spiritual path. It's considered weak for them to be super in touch with their feelings or express those feelings and or emotions. So of course they're gonna feel like the weakest expression is telling people that your mind is not right, that your mind is troubled. And a lot of people, instead of finding somebody they can confide in or finding a healthy outlet for these emotions, because not everybody can express themselves with words, and that's okay. But you have to find a way to express those feelings and those emotions and transmute that energy. And because a lot of men were not finding positive outlets, they're snapping. They don't want to be considered weak by their homeboys and stuff, right? but yet everybody's struggling. At some point in time, you have to turn around and you guys have to decide, okay, we have to be strong for each other. We have to be a support system for each other. We have to look past what society says is weak or not. Everybody needs love. Everybody needs support. Everybody needs healthy communication. Everybody needs help sometimes. Sometimes everybody needs an outlet, a catharsis for whatever is ailing them internally or mentally. And sometimes you have to have your friends be that support. But somebody has to be the one to look past the stigmas of weakness and say, you know what, at this point in time, I have to do what's best for me before I lose everything. Because men, you know, you guys, it's affecting you so much that you're starting to lose everything within the blink of an eye. And regret and remorse can only do but so much for you. And it's sad and it's unfortunate. Some of the best people I know have been incarcerated. And it's sad because it just shows how within the blink of an eye, if you are caught up in passion or any type of emotions, how your life can change that quickly, right? In an unhealthy way. Genetics also play a large factor in display and development of mental illness as well as spiritual gifts. And that's something that I harp on a lot. A lot of things are inherited. Like I definitely can say I'm psychic. It's hereditary. My whole family has spiritual gifts. My whole family is psychically gifted, whether they are empaths, dreamers, whatever it is. Now, whether they choose to use those to benefit themselves or to make their life better or to help others, that's their decision. But everybody was born with those gifts. Genetics plays, all right? That's why I'm trying to tell you your bloodline is important. Who you mix with is important because it affects you genetically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and then in the long run, it can display in mental illness, right? So you need to know who you're sleeping with. That's why casual sex is out. That shit lame now. Nowadays, this is not the day and age to be having casual sex with people and procreating, and you don't even know who they are, and then you find out that they're fucking maniacs. Take it from me. I know. Okay? Right? If the genealogy is known and these two mix, a lot of men do not know how to control the two, right? That's why there's so many people who I personally can say I have seen a lot of people, especially of the male denomination, who, you know, they may seem a little bit off, but once you talk to them about it, they may or may not have known another parent, or they may have grown up where one parent suffered from mental illness and addiction, and they don't know the other parent. So they don't know if that parent has mental illness or addiction. They don't know if that parent has spiritual gifts, X, Y, and Z, whatnot. So then, you know, certain mental illnesses, they don't affect you. They don't start displaying characteristics and traits of those illnesses until you get into early adulthood. So by that time, they are trying to figure out life. They're going into adulthood, and then they have these pressures. They might have these voices going on in their head, these emotions, these heightened sensations, and they don't know how to properly deal or cope with that, especially if you're raised in an environment where people express themselves in a negative way, where they say, you know, any kind of attention is good for me. So they try to get negative attention, express themselves in negative ways. And then that's how they end up the way that they end up. And we have enough of this going on. A lot of men who are deep into abusive relationships or have certain addictions, they're actually spiritually gifted and they don't even realize it. And what I say by that is, I'm not sure if you watched any of my other videos, but I also have a video where I talk about mental illness or spiritual gift. This plays into it as well, but this is more detailed towards the male species, right? What I mean by that is there are a lot of men. First of all, we know spiritual people, our energy, our vibration is higher. We're more elevated. We know that whether it's mentally, emotionally, energetically. Therefore, you see a lot of spiritual people, they like to smoke weed and stuff like that because they feel as though it may help them in whatever aspect, whether they're trying to do some shamanistic shit or, you know, they just want to meditate or get in touch with their higher selves. To each their own. There's different natural, organic things that a lot of spiritualists do, you know, such as marijuana, etc., that aids them with that. A lot of men, they don't realize that they are energetically in tune or tapped in, or that they need to tap into that. And they don't realize that they're experiencing an emotional awakening or stirring a disturbance. So therefore, they choose escapism, such as alcoholism or drug abuse. and they don't realize why. But when you smoke weed and stuff like that, you get elevated, right? It lifts you. That's why you hear a lot of people with addictions, they say that they like to indulge in their addiction because it helps them to escape. It helps them to numb those feelings and stuff because it elevates them out of their physical body, right? And that's why a lot of men have a tendency to veer off towards the drug and the alcohol. They tend to have a dependency towards it, because that's where they feel as though their mind can roam within themselves and nobody's judging them or making them feel crazy. But instead, you need to tap into those. You can do that, okay? Anything done in excess is a problem. Anything done in excess is a problem. And that's where, the addiction comes in. But if you like to smoke your herbs or whatever, if you feel as though that helps you to tap in, that's fine. But men, something that I would suggest for you to do is once you smoke and stuff, instead of going and trying to feed your flesh, right? Instead of, having a routine of anytime you smoke or you drink, you go fuck, or, you want to go hit a lick, or you want to go hit the streets to see what's popping. How about you use that time to sit with yourself, to meditate, to self-reflect on your actions, the things that's been going on with you, the disturbances that's going on, and try to identify why. Because you're basically elevated, right? You're elevated. Your mind is elevated. So therefore, that should help you to be able to broaden your perspective on things with clear insight. And a lot of times that is a way that you can help yourself, especially if you don't feel comfortable with talking to others whenever you feel as though you're going through mental or emotional or spiritual disturbances. You can do it on your own. Go out in nature, smoke your herbs, meditate, ground yourself, find a positive outlet, okay? Especially if you're in a relationship. A lot of males tend to end up having these addictions because they end up in certain type of relationships, because just like how there's an empath narcissist dynamic with females, there's one with men also. There are a lot of, as I said, empathic men. There are a lot of men who, they have a lot of feminine energy, so they're more nurturing, than other men, okay? They'll put out more, they'll provide more. And if that's not being reciprocated, there's gonna be an imbalance, and that can affect them emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And instead of trying to find a healthy way to work it out or just leave that person or that relationship, they turn to drugs and alcohol, but yet they're still harboring those feelings and all of that stuff. It just sits there and it festers. It builds up, it manifests, and then eventually it causes an explosion. And now we're seeing the causes of these type of explosions is resulting in death, loss of life, or quality of life. And that's something that we need to take into consideration. For so long, that stigma held so many of our wonderful men back in society. And now we're seeing the effects of that. So it's up to men to find a way to help themselves, especially if you feel as though you're too prideful to seek that help, because we can't keep killing each other. It's not right. Okay? And all that is doing is building up more toxic cycles, more generational curses, more energetic blockages, and it's stopping people from what they're actually supposed to be doing. You're not just hurting yourself. You're not just hurting that family. You're hurting the world. You just don't see it yet. Yeah, okay, I talked about the men in abusive relationships. Yes. Unstopped or uncontrolled spiritual gifts can turn into mental illness as well. There are a lot of men, I definitely can say, because I've been in the military, but I joined the military after I had lived 25 years of life, at least. I'm not going to tell you how old right now, right? And I was around a lot of people and I saw a lot of things, okay? And, I always was one of the boys, so I had a lot of male friends. And I can definitely tell you, a lot of them are spiritually gifted and they did not realize it. And because they did not know how to harness those gifts or control those gifts, it caused them to act out erratically. And a lot of them, in turn, had lengthy criminal records because they would engage in mischief. And sometimes, you have to just, when you see people doing things that are not normal or not usual, but yet may seem as though it's something spiritual or energetic or something that helps them to balance themselves out, you need to let them be and stop trying to bully them or make fun of them for doing something, okay? Because a lot of that causes them to not want to tap into those spiritual gifts. You know, I've been around homeboys I've had who had the gift of prophecy, had a third eye. You know, they were seers. They knew stuff. And they would, you know, we'd be smoking, chilling, and they just start calling stuff and making other people uncomfortable. And then those people, in turn, instead of listening to what they're saying, they would try to start cracking jokes on that person and make that person feel uncomfortable. And therefore, they would go back into themselves and stop using their gifts. That's a test. Okay? You have to be confident in the gifts that God gave you. Stop trying to suppress them. You have to express them. If your company that you keep, if they get uncomfortable when you express a part of spirituality that's going to help balance you, that's helping you to live in your purpose or use your gifts, you need to cut those people off. The right people will understand. They won't look at you weird. They won't make fun of you when you're using your gifts. They will help you to tap in. They'll encourage you because you have those gifts for a reason, and certain things you say for a reason. Whether they may appear foolish or not, your real friends, the real people around you, you know, in time, they're going to realize that you keep on calling shit. This is for somebody in particular. They're going to realize that you keep on calling shit. And by then, they should take you seriously. They shouldn't continue to make you feel stupid or give you a hard time when you're speaking what will be inevitable facts. You see what I'm saying? So whoever that's for, take that message. Yes, but if you continue to suppress those gifts, they're going to turn into, you're going to feel like you're going fucking crazy. That's why there's so many people out here who are paranoid schizophrenics, right? There's a thin line. You know, you do have people that truly are mentally unstable, but you also have people who are just expressing their gifts in the wrong way. And so it's making them appear as mentally unstable. You have to find that discernment. But ladies also too, you know, if you're dealing with a man and he's displaying certain, you know, quirks and stuff, it's up to us as well to have discernment to know, okay, this person may have gifts, but they don't know, or they may just be a fucking nutcase. Sometimes you have to save yourselves. A lot of spiritual or energetic things that are or have been happening are triggering men by either pushing them into a spiritual awakening or a tower moment. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sorry. A tower moment is a moment in life that's going to shake everything up. It's like kind of destroy to rebuild. It may appear negative at first, but in the end, it's supposed to help you to learn a lesson or to grow. That's what a tower moment is. Yes. But it'll push them into a spiritual awakening or push them off the deep end. Right? And a lot of that is what's going on nowadays. Because as I speak about, whenever I talk about relationships and stuff, everything goes in cycles. So a lot of times people get into relationships, right? And they don't realize that that relationship is not supposed to be forever. It may have been toxic. It may have been a relationship that was supposed to trigger them into an awakening or teach them a lesson, and they are having a hard time letting go. They're not willing to learn the lesson. They're not willing to accept, you know, failure. Some people consider lessons failure. They're not willing to accept that and move on. So it triggers them to act in a way that is detrimental to themselves and their mate in the situation. And that's a major blockage for everybody nowadays because people are getting caught up in these toxic relationships and these love cycles because they want to hold on to something that truly is not yours and was not yours to begin with. It was just yours for that lesson, right? Also, too, I personally feel as though a lot of the killings and things that we see going on right now are being triggered by men experiencing mental illness issues from not expressing themselves, from holding things inside. But also, too, I also feel as though a lot of this as well, not all, but I also feel like some of these relationships are pertaining to people doing things energetically or spiritually, binding themselves to people. And then when they're ready to go, their magic, their bindage, whatever, that other person, they're still in that. So they don't want to let go. And then it becomes detrimental. That's why people should not play with magic. That's why people should not play with spirituality. That's why people should not play with people's heart or energy. Because you never know who you can trigger to go off of the deep end. That's not me making excuses for anybody. I'm just trying to point out certain elements or factors that may contribute to the cause of the elevated level of domestic violence, death that is going on right now, or of men displaying severe mental illness as of late. I just wanted to give you a few reasons why. For those who are not just trying to nitpick and find a reason to argue, I'm sure you'll see my point and my perspective. And if you have anything else to add, feel free to comment below. Okay, just make sure that you come to me with respect as I come to you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little message. Okay, I just wanted to brush on this topic because mental illness in men is a very deep topic. There's a lot of depth that's still being discovered. But as we go on, the more that we have accountability, the more that men are more open whenever they're experiencing these emotional shifts, the more we can better help ourselves and help each other and help our men, because we have to protect our kings. Moral of the story, right? So I love you all. Thank you for taking the time out to check me out, your favorite spiritual advisor. I ask everybody to be blessed. Also, to take the time, check my link tree, check out my shop on Etsy, Empress Oracle Shop. There I have all kinds of crystal jewelry to aid anybody on their spiritual journey. I also do custom orders, and I have butters, oils, bath salts, everything you need to get your energy right and to help you on this journey, because this is the lifetime for us to get it right to the best of our ability. I love you all. Be blessed and have a wonderful day.